What's up guys, DuArktik here with another Marvel Strike Force video, and in this video we are back to talk about Black Cat. We're gonna take a look at the new information that we have for Black Cat and how to unlock her, and help you out making the decision if you should build up the Sinister Six. Yes, if you are not aware, the Sinister Six are part of the requirements to unlock Black Cat together with the Nowhere team. So in this video we are going to check out the Sinister Six and each member, where exactly they are going to be useful, in which situations you might consider using them, and see if overall they have any kinds of synergies also with the Nowhere characters or not. Because for the Nova event, for example, in some nodes it was extremely useful to kick out one of the Masters of Evil, which was the requirement, and place instead a member of the X Factor or Quicksilver. So we're going to do exactly the same for Black Cat. As always, if you like the information on these videos, make sure you share it with your friends on Facebook and Discord. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and make sure to smash that like button. Okay, let's get started. So in this video we're going to talk about Sinister Six. As always, make sure to check out the channel for new videos every day. Today we're gonna probably drop like 3 or 4 videos, tomorrow another 3 or 4 videos, because there is just so many things going on that we need to catch up, right? But the important point right here is that this next legendary for difficulty 5 and above will require Nowhere characters, including Nova, and Sinister Six characters. The Nova event, if you don't have Nova right now, don't worry about that, because Nova is gonna show up next week, and we'll do a secondary video after this one talking about the requirements for Nova and things you should take into consideration based on the previous experience. Last time I ended up around the rank 100 or something on the leaderboard, so I think I can give you some good information for you to get your Nova as big as possible. So for this one you need the entire Nova team plus Sinister Six. Okay, so on that video that we'll talk about Nowhere, we'll also talk about ISO weights and a few problems that the team have, maybe, or maybe not. Maybe we'll just focus on Masters of Evil. Okay, forget about that. Anyway, let's take a look at the Sinister Six that we have right now in the game and see which of these characters could be useful to you, and if we have some interesting combinations over here. So first off, we have to talk about Nowhere. Nowhere, they have some important abilities like the stun on first turn, and then we have that healing that Nova does with his passive. With his battlefield effect. Let's call things for their proper name. So the battlefield effect applies deflects and heals up your characters by 5%, right? So that already increases the value of Dr. Octopus, because whenever Dr. Octopus blocks, he is going to heal up your team by a small amount. It's not a lot, but it's interesting enough that you should be able to consider it. Now, you can see right here on block, heal self and all Sinister Six allies for 10%. Now, the thing about Dr. Octopus is much better than Cosmo. Cosmo, unfortunately, is the worst character on the Nowhere team, and Dr. Octopus, with this passive alone, is going to increase a lot the value of the Nowhere team. On top of that, with the special of Dr. Octopus, he's also going to gain charges. Those charges are going to give him speed up. They're going to summon a minion shocker that can be used as a decoy for our enemies to attack. And Dr. Octopus also gives speed up to adjacent allies that are next to him. So in case you have like Nova and Star-Lord, for example, next to Dr. Octopus, those characters are going to get speed up and they're going to be a lot faster, which is going to be convenient. So we already see some value here with Dr. Octopus. He is the legendary character right now for the Sinister Six. And you can see that his major bonus is going to be decoys, additional healing, additional speed, and extra deflects. On top of that, he can also stop any kind of offense down being applied to your team. So if the enemy team has like a lot of characters like Yo-Yo, Lady Electro that applies offense down to all characters, or any other enemy that applies offense down to multiple characters, you can use Dr. Octopus to make sure that that offense down is stopped, because when you have offense down, not only you lose 50% damage, but you also lose 50% focus. So keep that in mind as this is extremely important. Okay, so that's the first character we should have into consideration. Of course, it's going to be the legendary. Now, we have the specific options that might be somewhat convenient. So we have to talk about first Rhino. So Rhino is going to be extremely useful for the Nowhere team or for this hybrid Sinister Six and Nowhere. If you are facing any character like Magneto or Kate Bishop, or maybe even Hawkeye, if you have any kind of enemy that applies blinds to your team, maybe you should consider having Rhino on your team to make sure that you clear those blinds away. As I mentioned, like Cosmo, he can also clear the negative effects away, but it's up to you. Sometimes it's just not enough, or maybe he died or something else happened and you have to use some additional option, or maybe you just use a sack team and Rhino is a nice character to sack because he gets extra HP based on how many Sinister Six allies you have. So the more you have, the more beefy he's gonna get. But the major focus is going to be to stop the blinds from the enemies. Like I said, Magneto, Hawkeye and Kate Bishop as the main points. Okay, we have another option. We have Vulture. Vulture, he can apply slow and offense down to city hero characters. He applies to multiple of them. He's also quite great against characters with minions like Hela, like Nick Fury, because whenever you kill one enemy, you're gonna get speed bar, and yes, this is also with the minions into consideration. Then on top of that, he also has this amazing ultimate that turn rewinds the enemies by 25%, which is massive. And Vulture it was always one of those characters that we really wish he would get a rework, because the theory crafting you can do with this guy, based on his speed, based on his kit, based on his passive, it's so absolutely ridiculous that it's very unfortunate that this character didn't got a rework yet, because he's one of the oldest characters with the most value that we are just waiting for have that major rework to go back to the top of the meta and being like a S tier character. Okay, so those are going to be, in my opinion, the priority characters to have into consideration. Now, there are some secondary options. We have the rework of Swarm, we also have a rework for Green Goblin, and then we have the other three Sinister Six characters we can quickly talk about. So, Green Goblin, he can become very useful to you if you are facing any kind of characters with a lot of resistance. So, if you are facing like a massive Morgan Le Fay on the enemy side, on these new Scourges or Trials, whatever you want to call it, Green Goblin is going to come into play because of his passive, because he's going to reduce the resistance of the enemies and is going to apply defense down to them. So Green Goblin right now is being used as a counter against Darkhold on Alliance Wars, and even my Green Goblin at Gear Tier 12 is able to apply defense down to Morgan Le Fay at Gear Tier 17. It's crazy how good this guy is, even at a very low level and very low Gear Tier level. It's absolutely ridiculous. So yeah, if you are facing any kinds of enemies that have insane resistance, this guy is going to be the one you want to use together with your Nora characters. Then we have Swarm. In my opinion, Swarm is not going to be super important unless you are facing a lot of characters with auto taunt, and this is going to allow you, the special of Swarm and the ultimate of Swarm is going to allow you to apply disrupts to targets that you want to make sure that they are not taunting all the time. So in case you are facing any kind of bishop, in case you are facing any kind of shield security or any other character with auto taunt, maybe even better reveal. I think he also auto taunts. We also have Miss Marvel that also taunts. So anytime you are facing any character with auto taunt, Swarm now with the special and the ultimate also does the effects of the special, Swarm is going to be your guy to stop all those auto taunt tanks. And that leaves us with three characters left. We have Mysterio, we have Lady Electro, and we have Shocker. There is no reason to use Shocker. Unfortunately, he was never good from the release. He was always trash. So I would definitely recommend not using him, not putting any gear on him. And that's it. Unfortunately, he's very useless. I hope that one day he might be a good character, but today is not the day. Then we have Lady Electro. Lady Electro, when she was released, she had the potential of being a great character. Unfortunately, it's not the case. She has ultimate available on turn 1 that does piercing damage and applies offense down for 2 turns. So in case you are facing enemies with massive amounts of damage, not early on but mid-range in terms of speed, then she's gonna be your girl. This is another character that had huge potential on release, but Scopely didn't really pay attention to them, and unfortunately they fade into obscure. But the kits overall of the Sinister Six, they have the potential there. They just need a little bit more stats and a little bit more value. But yeah, so Lady Electro, she's going to apply offense down to the enemies, and she's going to make sure that you have a chance of surviving. So she could be used as a sack character for the last node, node number 10, where you have to use your Nowhere and your Sinister Six. Then we have Mysterio. Mysterio is another character that has great potential with his kit, but unfortunately it didn't got anywhere. On his passive, if he dies, he can summon some minions, then those minions can revive him again, and every time he is revived or on spawn, he's going to apply deflects to the Sinister Six allies. So this is why this guy is also going to be a great sack character, because without this survivability, without this deflects, without this mitigation of the damage of the enemies, that will give you more time to make sure that the enemies use the abilities you want, so after you can go with your serious team and finish them off. So Mysterio would be another great sack character. And that covers all the Sinister Six characters. So as you can see, even that these characters are quite outdated, on specific situations they can be quite amazing for you to use, and they will greatly counter the enemies that I mentioned. So for example, characters that are playing offense down, Dr. Octopus. City heroes and minions, Vulture. Characters with auto taunt, we have Swarm for the multiple disrupts. Characters with big burst damage, use Lady Electro. Characters that apply blinds to you, use Rhino. Characters with a lot of resistance, use Green Goblin. And characters that or nodes that you just need to sack and make sure that you have as much mitigation as possible, you are going to use Mysterio. So as you guys can see, there is huge value in having your Sinister Six ready to play. Should you do it as a new player? Probably not, unless you don't have the Nowhere team, right? If you don't have the Nowhere team, it's better to use Sinister Six and unlocking Black Cat than not having anything at all. But of course, this is going to favor for the veterans and especially players that are really trying to get like top 5,000 or something like that, where it will allow you to get the Black Cat between 5 yellow and 6 yellow, or even higher than that. So as you can see, we have 8 characters that, or 7 characters that can bring you a lot of benefits on specific situations. And I would say keep your eyes open to the channel, so when you do this run and you check out how I'm going to use my Sinister Six in order to take advantage of their kits to defeat the enemies that we face on the enemy nodes. So that's going to be the video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed usefulness of Sinister Six on the Black Cat trial. If you enjoyed this information, make sure you share it with your friends. If you are new to my channel, make sure you subscribe for more Marvel Strike Force content, and I will catch you guys later.